Well, believe it or not, it is the end of April, and for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, we are headed into summer, or at least into summer planning. And I've been talking to a lot of parents recently who are stressed out. Oh my God, what am I going to do with my sweet boy this summer? I want to take a few minutes to give you a few tips that I have found work really well when figuring out how to plan your summer. So, the first is to think about when you get to the end of the day in your summer, like pretend it's July right now, and it's the end of a summer day, and you're laying your head on the pillow and you're going to sleep at night. What would have had to have happened that day for you to feel like, yes, this was a good day? Now, notice I'm not starting you off with, well, what should I do or what shouldn't I do? But like, really, what allows you at the end of the day to feel good? Now, for some of you, that might mean, oh, my boy spent some, outside time and he's all dirty and muddy. And I feel like, he's tired from lots of outdoor stuff. And for some of you, it might be, oh, I want him to be spending at least a half hour reading. Or for some of you, it might mean him connecting with friends. Or for some of you, it might mean something about you, right? It might mean I get 3 hours of work in, or I get to connect with a friend. It doesn't matter, but think about what has to happen during that day so that at the end of the day you can feel good. Um, uh, then I think it's really important to think about an activity that you can anchor your day around. And actually, I want to step back before I talk about anchoring your day in activity and say it's really important when you're planning your summer, pretty much regardless of the age of your boy, to think about how can you give him some agency in terms of what happens. So if I'm going to step back a little bit further, that's going to require you to think again about what's important to you. What are your values, right? You need to get clear on your limits. Are you a no tech family? Are you going to go a little bit lenient on tech during the summer? Do you welcome tech? How much tech? What kind of tech? You want to think about those things and how they, um, what your values are around those, but also what your values are around exercise, eating, engaging with other people, et cetera, et cetera. So that when you think about, what you're going to do with your day, they are grounded in things that are important to you and not just like, what people do in the summertime. And then when you think about that, you want to think about your limits, the limits that you're going to set during the summer. You want to think about, um, what you need to have success with them and whether or not they're realistic, right? So your age or your developmental level of your child might play, or definitely will play, a role in what kind of limits are going to work for you. So you want to make sure you can't just say like, oh, I would love for my kid to spend 3 hours or all day outside playing because that's really aligned with my values. That's what I did when I was a kid, and that's what would allow me to sleep well at night, feel good when I rest my head at the pillow at the end of the day. But your kid is 3 and you have to work all day and you don't have anywhere to send him, and you're not sure how you're going to convince him to get outside the house because generally he just wants to stay inside. Okay, that's not a realistic goal for yourself to have your kid be outside for, all day. So you want to make sure that your goal, your limits that you're going to set are realistic, that they are aligned with what could something that could actually happen. So in a situation like that, you'd want to modify. You want to say, okay, well, being outside and active is really important to me. I want to make sure he gets some of this. I need to work, so it's not going to be all day, but maybe I can find a camp where he could get 2 or 3 hours of activity in a day. And at the end of the day, I'll feel good about that. And I'm less concerned about what happens with the rest of the day. So getting clear on your limits. Why? Making sure they're realistic, and that you're set up for success so that you're not trying to make something happen that probably really isn't going to. And you're sort of wishing and hoping and praying and dreaming, but not really tuned into the reality of the situation. Okay, so that was the getting clear on your limits. And then I started to talk about, like, once you're clear about that, you want to give your kid some agency regardless of his age. So that might that might be giving him a choice between certain things that you know you can set up. It might be a more general early conversation, hey, you're going to have a couple months off school. What are some things that you'd like to do this summer? What do you imagine yourself doing? Brainstorming, really listening, and then trying to take ideas from the things that he's brought up, make them fit into your family values and then the limits that you know are realistic. And from that, then you want to anchor, or at least I don't know if you want to, but I found families have a lot of success with anchoring your day around like one activity. So that example that I gave around a camp where there's outdoor stuff happening because that's aligned with your values, or maybe you're an artistic family and that's really important to you. So maybe um, you let most of the things go, but it is important that you do a family art activity. So you put your energy into setting up an art activity each and every day of the week, and you can feel good at the end of the day because you know that, hey, you spent an hour or two with your sweet boy doing that art activity. It doesn't matter what it is. So that's pretty much what I want to say, right? You want to think about at the end of the day what's going to make you feel good. You want to get really clear on your limits, but make sure that they're aligned, one, with your values, and two, with the developmental level of your child and whatever situation you're finding yourself in right now. Okay, you want to set yourself up for success. You want to give your, I'm counting the wrong number of fingers. You want to give your child some agency, right? So get ideas from him. What would he like to do? And see if you can incorporate that into the plan. And then ultimately anchor your day or your child's day with some sort of an activity. Now, obviously, all of you have different situations, right? Some of you are working for pay full time outside the home and you're looking for something full day for your child to do. Some of you are home with your child, so that looks different. So, make this work for you, but regardless of what your situation is, these are some guidelines that I've found really, really have helped parents over the years to set themselves up for success with the summer and build some great memories. Right? You want to make yummy, sweet memories over the summer, so you can look back and think like, yeah, I did it. All right. Thanks for being on this mission with me to create a more peaceful world, one sweet boy at a time. And I will see you next week.